All right, I started making a video on how to replace a blower motor on a furnace, which honestly isn't that difficult to do if you know what you're doing. Effectively, what I just did is the equivalent to my power bill having been $100 a month more for the last 9 years that we've lived in this house.
Dad, I don't think you realize what you've done.
And all of it because I didn't know one thing about this screw. So this is the blower motor assembly, and it's upside down from how it would have been installed in the furnace. And the install is honestly pretty easy. You just use these machine screws, and it goes through the little mounting hole, and it goes into the hole right here. So it just threads in there. Now here's where everything went completely sideways on me. Unbeknownst to me, it was this hole right here. Now this hole, unfortunately, is stripped. So move that a little. It's stripped so bad, you can see I could just shove this screw in and out. Except I didn't really realize that when I installed it. And so I installed it. Everything was good. The fan was spinning great. No problems there. It was after it was running for about 4 hours that this screw fell out. And when that screw falls out and this fan is spinning at, I don't know what the RPM is on this, but it's a lot, things go sideways really quick. In particular, the whole motor tilted like that. It basically moved. And so this fan, which would normally spin freely, hit stuff. It hit the cage, and here's the result. Not good. So there's some fan blades right here. This got all bent. This thing basically turned itself into somewhat of a little hand grenade. And so this is ruined, obviously. The motor itself, the brand new motor, may be also ruined. And so this whole assembly has to be replaced. But that's not the bad part. The bad part is what sits right next to this opening in the furnace is the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger basically is your furnace. And so when this was still spinning before it stopped spinning, with this whipping out, it took out my heat exchanger. Okay, so how does a heat exchanger turn into a completely new furnace? Well, effectively, there's enough parts damaged there now that by the time they replace all of those parts, you're almost at a new furnace, except that if they just put parts into an existing furnace, which is almost 10 years old, you now don't have like a warranty or anything like you would with a brand new furnace. So I had damaged my furnace enough that it was worth just a little bit more money to get like a full, lifetime on parts and 10-year installation and all this stuff that you get with a brand new furnace versus just trying to replace the majority of the parts in an old furnace. So that's why I ended up just going with a brand new furnace in this case. Let's go back to these holes. Okay, so I know I have this stripped out hole here, and I know I have some decent holes here and here. But what I figured out afterward, and I confirmed this with my HVAC guy, is what that hole is for. And there's one just off to the left of every single one of these other holes. And as it turns out, those holes are for when these ones get stripped out. These aren't meant to be screwed and rescrewed and screwed and rescrewed. So what I should have done, had I known, was to move the motor over and line it up with those holes, right? With that hole right there. not the old one, but the new hole, and then I could have tapped that in with the impact gun. It would have held really, really tight. I wouldn't have had any problems. This project would have been a raging success, and I probably would have felt pretty fantastic about myself for more than 4 hours. Okay, so you can see now exactly where I went wrong. I clearly didn't know that I was supposed to rotate that blower motor and put it in a new set of holes. I used an impact gun when I reinstalled it, didn't pay attention enough, didn't hand check those. If I had a hand checked those, I probably would have noticed that that one was stripped. But I also didn't realize what the impact of that stripped screw was going to be. I didn't realize, oh man, if that thing tilts just a little while it's spinning, it just turns into shrapnel and just destroys everything. I had no idea it would do that. So it was easily avoidable if I did a little bit more research. That's all I'm trying to help everybody out with is do your research, understand what you're doing before you jump into a DIY project that could end up like mine and just cost you like $1 gazillion. So hopefully you found this helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.